Hi, it's Carla again. Last week we talked about one of the two sociological emotions. That's what I call them. Because they're not just about you, they're about you in relationship to others. In this way, I see both jealousy and envy as like a combo emotion of the instincts and intuition of the fears category and the boundary setting and the rule understandings of the anger category. So they're kind of two things at once, right? Anger is about how you are perceived in the social world, and jealousy and envy are about how you are situated in the social world, what you have, what your resources are. We talked about jealousy as being involved with love and loyalty and commitment, right? Your relational radar. Envy is different. I call envy interactional radar. And it is about your access to resources, your access to money, your access to attention, and it's also about fairness. Jealousy is about fairness too. And the gifts of envy are fairness, security, access to resources, and self-preservation. Because we've been taught to despise and hate and slap down jealousy and envy, we tend not to be very good with the skills and the gifts that both of these emotions bring to us, right? So if something is unfair, if someone is being given more than you are without deserving it, without working for it, your envy should come up. Because sociologically speaking, socially speaking, it's not a safe environment for you. There is not fairness, there is not security, and your needs are being pushed aside in deference to another, right? Envy needs to come up at this point because socially you are endangered by this situation, right? So there's that whole instinct, this instinct of watching the social situation that envy does, and this understanding of the whole interaction that is going on. You'll notice with children that they are awesome at envy, especially if they've got siblings. Like watch, I don't know, like a 3-year-old. If you're giving 2 kids a cookie or a slice of cheese or a slice of cake, those kids develop like a visual way of weighing these foods, and they're probably exactly right, but they're like, why did she get a bigger slice of cheese than I did, right? And if you were to weigh the cheese, it would be right. So a lot of this intuition, a lot of this skill that envy brings a child gets stopped. It gets slapped down. It gets pressed down. And what a parent might say, because we were all raised to hate envy and jealousy, we might say, "Oh, don't be so selfish. That is so unimportant. Don't be so selfish. Charlie needs. You both have cheese. Why are you so obsessed with this, right?" And so we teach children to distrust and hate their own emotion of envy. A way to work with that would help a child access their envy and their sense of fairness and their sense of resources being given out in a fair way would be to say, you and Charlie are going to have some cheese right now, and this is how much we have. Will you cut it? And Charlie can choose. Right? I mean, this is a great way to have kids learn about fairness, right? So when the child knows that he or she is responsible for the cutting and that Charlie gets to choose, you will never see such precision in your life, right? This child can become a diamond cutter because of the precision that is involved. But it helps lean into the child's sense of fairness within a social construct, right? Now, if you said, why don't you just cut the cheese and then anybody can choose, then the child's probably going to cut a bigger piece for themselves because we're all selfish, right? Until we learn better. But helping a child figure out what's fair for himself and everyone else, or herself and everyone else. Helping a child learn about generosity, it's a part of envy. We think of envy as selfishness and, self-absorption and take. We think of envy as greed. And it is only greed when it hasn't been allowed to grow with a child, and when a child hasn't been allowed to access it. When a child isn't allowed to say, that's not fair, this person got more than I did. When a child is told that they're selfish and they're greedy and, go to your room. What they're told is that this natural core of understanding the social world, understanding access to resources, understanding fairness, that this is not welcome in this family, or this is not welcome at school, or this is not welcome. They lose their capacity to understand the healthy and equitable distribution of resources. And as we see in business and in other places, as those people grow up, things can get really disturbing, right? So connecting to envy is really important, especially in a workplace environment. If you are continually doing the work and other people are getting the accolades, and it was your work, or thinking of the ideas and other people take credit for it, or you train someone and they get promoted above you. What this can be a sign of, people would say it's low self-esteem. I would say it's listening to your envy, right? Maybe you were taught not to listen to it. But when you start having that feeling is, this isn't fair, something's going on here. The job of envy, the questions you ask is, what has been betrayed? What must be made right? Right? So envy will tell you there's a betrayal here, there's an unfairness here, there's an inequity here. And the next thing is, how do I make it right? And the answers to that are as individual as each of us, but it is envy that tells you that inequity is occurring, right? And so listen to your envy. Work with it, welcome it, take it out of the shadow or the closet or underneath the rug or wherever it's been forced by our problematic relationship to jealousy and envy, and welcome it into your life. It will help you make things fair. Thanks so much. I'll see you next week.